I think, again, it gets back to just leaning into that discomfort. I know that folks generally just don't, there's a lot of folks who just are very shy and don't want to offer a question, but you can't be afraid. The other advice that I think I would offer is, and Brian was sort of touched upon it, write it down, okay? Write it down and ask later, okay? Don't be afraid to say, hey, Professor, can I talk to you after class? Or can I please have a few minutes after our team's meeting is over? I think that folks generally need to feel comfortable doing that. And the only way you're going to get comfortable doing that is to practice it. Practice it, practice it, practice it. Just do it. And you'll find that it becomes so much easier the more you practice. It becomes more commonplace for you. You get more comfortable. And if you don't practice it, then you're not going to get comfortable.
I would say from a student perspective, in addition to writing your questions down and asking them in email format, I would highly recommend just to get to know your professors, right? What I started doing my junior and senior, especially for the classes that were in my chemistry major, that first week or so, I just went to my professor's office hours and I just say, hey, just briefly introduce myself. That kind of put me a little bit at ease to see that my professors are human. They're not these, I don't know what you call them, like monsters, so to speak. We're not here to fail you. We're here to help you. So go introduce yourself, even if you don't have any questions. That builds in that comfort level so that, I can go back later on when I do have questions and I felt like, I've already done this. It goes back to that practice, right? The more you get comfortable with it, I think the better you are at than asking for help. In terms of receiving, I would just, again, challenge any student out there to just kind of rethink your mindset a little bit. You're here to learn. Part of your learning process is to ask about things that you don't understand. That's how we learn, right? That's how I learn. I'm asking questions every day. I'm new to HU. This is my first year. So I can guarantee you, I've asked a lot of questions and it's uncomfortable because from some perspective, I'm like, well, I should know where to find these things, but I don't. Every place is different, right? Every topic is different. So you're going to be asking questions throughout your life. Receiving help is not a bad thing. Receiving help means you're curious enough and you want to learn. That shows me that as a student, you want to understand this, right? Rather than staying shy and not understanding and then walking out of class being confused. That's what gets me most of the time, because if you don't speak up, then I assume you understand it. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a psychic. I don't know if you have questions. You have to be able to communicate with me somehow.
If I may add to Professor Wang, I would say ask sooner rather than later. If you have spent a day spinning your wheels on something, that's enough time. You're done. You need to ask a question, and that's a stop by your professor's office. That's a Teams call. That's a one-on-one conversation. And if I would look back on my own experience as well as that of my students, something I hear a lot is, I wish I had asked sooner. I wish I had gotten help sooner, because you waste too much time, just getting frustrated, because there's probably some aspect that you don't understand or something that's fixable. Maybe you need to see an example. Maybe you need to have a direction clarified for you. So the sooner you get that done, the more time you actually have to fix it on the other side.
I might suggest try email, because the thing about email is it is a little more impersonal. So if you're having trouble coming up and face to face because you feel like it's a confrontation or it's shame or it's something, right? If you can the whole key is kicking off the conversation. Once the cat's out of the bag. Why are we keeping cats in bags? Once the cat's out of the bag, you can start that conversation. You can have, right, the professor knows, or your friend knows, or whomever you're going to for help knows, hey, this request has been made. And the person-to-person communication becomes easier, face-to-face, email, Teams, whatever. But if you can use the impersonalness of a Teams message or an email to your advantage. If that's what it takes to get over the hump, right? That, you know, use whatever means necessary it takes, you know, to be able to find enough cover, you know, and if the technology can provide it, great.